अस्सलाम वालेकुम, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। आज हम पढ़ेंगे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड डेटाबेस सिस्टम। डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड डेटाबेस सिस्टम टेक्नोलॉजी इज़ द यूनियन ऑफ व्हाट अपीयर टू बी टू diametrically opposed approaches to data processing. Database system and computer network technologies. Database system have taken us from a paradigm of data processing in which each application defined and maintained its own data to one in which the data are defined and administered centrally. This new orientation results in data independence, whereby the application program are immune to changes in the logical or physical organization of the data and vice versa. One of the major motivation behind the use of database system is the design to integrate the operational data of an enterprise and to provide centralized, thus controlled access to that data. The technology of computer networks, on the other hand, promote a mode of work that goes against all centralization efforts. At first glance, it might be difficult to understand how these two contrasting approaches can possibly be synthesized to produce a technology that is more powerful and more promising than either on one alone. The key to this understanding is the realization. Thus, the most important objective of the database technology is integration, not centralization. It is important to realize that either one of these terms does not necessarily imply to the other. It is possible to achieve integration without centralization, and that is exactly what the distributed database technology attempts to achieve. In this chapter, we define the fundamental concepts and set of framework or discussing distributing database. We start by examining the distributed system in general in order to clarify the role of database technology within distributed data processing, and then move on to topics that are more directly to DDBS. Distributed data processing. The term distributed processing or distributed computing is hard to define precisely. Obviously, some degree of distributed processing goes on in any computer system, even on single processor computer where the central processing unit and input-output functions are separated and overlapped. This separation and overlap can be considered as one form of distributed processing. The widespread emergence of parallel computers have further complicated the picture, since the distinction between distributed computing system and some form of parallel computer is rather vague. In this book, we define distributed processing in such a way that it leads to a definition of a distributed database system. The working definition we use for distributed computing system states that it is a number of autonomous processing elements, not necessarily homogeneous, that are introduced by a computer network and that cooperate in performing their assigned task. The processing element referred to in the definition is a computing device that can execute a program on its own. This definition is similar to those given in distributed system textbooks. A fundamental question that need to be asked is what is being distributed. One of the things that might be distributed is the processing logic. In fact, the definition of distributed computing system given above implicitly assume that the processing logic or processing element are distributed. Another possible distribution is according to function. Various functions of a computer system could be delegated to various pieces of hardware or software. A third possible mode of distribution is according to data. Data used by a number of applications may be distributed to a number of processing sites. In the following sections we talk about these in more detail. वीडियो अच्छी लगे तो लाइक कीजिए, शेयर कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए.